One of the things that Augustine is tripped up by is the demand of the Christian church for faith. In order to come to Christ, you must have faith. He who comes to God must believe that he is, says Hebrews, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. One must have belief. And Augustine says, this is unreasonable to demand that I have faith. Why can't you show me rational proof? But by listening to Ambrose, Augustine begins to understand that this problem of his is his own problem, not the Christian's problem, because he begins to realize that he has faith all the time, that everyone has faith all the time. You may have heard, if you've listened to Christian apologists talking about this sort of thing, that every time you sit down in a chair, you don't test it with weights and engineering instruments. You just sit down. You have faith that the chair will hold you up because it held you up the last time you sat in it. Well, why does that make you think you'll sit in it the next time? Perhaps experience, but it's a kind of faith. Think about all the other things that we believe that we've never tested by empirical experimentation, by logical analysis, by experiment. Things like believing that China exists, that there is a dark side to the moon, that the ancient Romans were a real people. All the things that you have in your head, 99.99% of them you've never tested. You simply believe them because you read them in a magazine or heard about it in a movie or heard it from your parents or listened to a preacher or saw a TV show. Most of the things you believe to be true, you have never tested, and you don't have time in your life to test them all. You take almost everything that you believe by faith. You have to. That's the way we're made as finite human creatures. We're made to live by faith, to believe. This is one of the reasons why the fall is such a tragic thing, and one of the reasons why lying is such a terrible sin. Every time I lie to someone, I make it harder for them to believe me, and they, by default, as a human creature, are made to believe, but I make it harder for them to live according to their created nature. So the fall damages our ability to do what we're supposed to do, which is to believe. We have to believe. We can't live any other way than by faith, by believing things. You can't possibly test all the things you believe. So Augustine sorts through these things in his own mind, and he finally realizes that his demand that the faith be proved is unreasonable. There are evidences, of course. There are warrants for faith. There are things that vindicate faith. But his desire that it be proved in a way that nothing else in his life requires proof is unreasonable. So he overcomes that objection, gradually begins to understand that the Christian demand for faith is not an unreasonable demand.